Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tap Performance Studios. I'm Curtis Sawyer with Indian Rider Radio, powered by Lloyd's Garage. And if you've been around the internet already this morning, or if you dropped by the Indian Motorcycle website or their YouTube channel, you know why we're here. We are introducing the 2022 FTR lineup. This has been a really amazing evolution of this motorcycle. And we're really excited, Indian Rider Radio, and for that matter, Ridingfish, being part of the introduction of this new bike. Now, when I say new bike, there's a lot to learn yet. And I do have a lot of information I could share with you today about the motorcycle in general. And we're going to start by, well, doing what we do. We're going to share a little video from our friends at Indian Motorcycle. This will get you started with what you're going to find out more about right now.
The new FTR, retro style, meets modern performance. With a new lower seat, 17-inch wheels, and world-class components, it all adds up to incredible street handling and performance. For those who want it all, the choice is easy.
Well, there you go. And now we know the new FTR is here. And this is going to be, I think, a major evolution for this motorcycle. The 2022 FTR has made some major changes. Now, when I say major changes, it's still the same motorcycle. The core of this bike is still the same. But it really is amazing, and it really is something that I think Indian has needed to do for a while, and that is give this motorcycle a personality. I see your comments over here. I'm going to get to those as quickly as I possibly can, guys. Let me get through a little bit more information for you, and then we'll open it up and we'll talk, and we'll chat with your questions or whatnot. Want to thank everybody, too, who's dropping by Ridingfish's YouTube channel this morning. Yeah, I just hijacked it. Yeah, we're just going to do our thing here. But I think it's really important you guys understand that it's been a long time in the evolution of this bike to come to this point. So let's talk about these new brands, these new bikes. And I'm going to share with you a little more detail right here in 3 short video clips. Sit tight. The FTR base. Starting at $12,999, the base FTR features an analog gauge. It's available in black smoke with red accents throughout, including red pinstripes on the wheels, red Indian Motorcycle script branding across the tank, and a red rear shock spring. The 2022 FTR-S. With 2 paint options, maroon metallic and white smoke, the FTR-S begins at just $14,999. The premium offering includes Indian Motorcycle's 4.3-inch touchscreen display, offering phone integration with Bluetooth or USB connection. The FTR-S is standard with an upgraded Akrapovic exhaust, 3 ride modes, wheelie control with rear lift mitigation, stability control, traction control, and cornering ABS. Additionally, a fast-charging USB port is a handy way to stay charged. The FTR-R Carbon sits at the top as the premier model in the FTR lineup. In addition to the features listed with the FTR-S, the FTR-R Carbon sets itself apart with carbon fiber tank covers, front fender and headlight nacelle, fully adjustable Öhlins gold front forks and gold piggyback shocks, a black Akrapovic exhaust, premium seat cover, and numbered badging on the console. The FTR-R Carbon is available and starting at $16,999. The FTR, the FTR-S, and FTR-R Carbon are outfitted with 17-inch cast aluminum wheels wrapped with Metzler Sport-Tech street tires, resulting in precision handling in corners and nimble handling on the street. Smaller wheels, along with the bike's front and rear suspension, now offering 120 millimeters of travel, contribute to a lower seat height, reduced by about 1.4 inches, opening the door for more riders to enjoy the FTR. Additionally, the Pro Taper handlebars were trimmed by nearly 1.5 inches to support the bike's nimble handling and give riders more control. Additionally, updates for the new FTR line further redefined rider comfort. These 3 models offer fully adjustable front and rear suspension. That's a new feature added to the FTR base, as well as cylinder deactivation. So as you see, the things that you have talked about as riders, as people who have been on this bike, who have experienced the FTR in any of its current incarnations, you told Indian Motorcycle what you wanted, and they listened. And the bike now has a very definitive street posture and personality. And by being a little bit lower, at again, roughly 1.4 inches where they've dropped the seat, the bike suddenly becomes much more accessible, much more rider friendly. And by having this more definitive street personality, one of the things that they don't talk about and that you're going to find out more about is obviously if you're an FTR owner, you've experienced the cold starting issues that it could have. Okay. It's the nature of the beast. Now, some are saying that tuning is helping immensely. And I'm sure that's the case. And I know for a fact that Ryan at Lloyd's Garage with the Secret Sauce tune has found a way to make that almost go away. But what I'm getting to here, guys, is that they have now redefined the engine as well. They don't talk about this whole lot yet, but really what they've done is they've made a more linear power curve. They've done a lot to eliminate the cold starting issues and some of the cold running issues, but they've also then given you a little different feel for throttle response and some other things. So really what's going on here is FTR is taking on a new personality. And there was a lot of engineering and a lot of thought that went into this because obviously the bike is so versatile, but it now creates a very unique combination of style that is distinctive and unique, and personality, and of course, performance. So these things are all key. When you're looking at marketing a motorcycle, you have to give it a name, you have to give it a feel, you have to give it a reason to be. And now Indian really has to find where they're going and what they see in the future with the FTR lineup. So the FTR starts out at around $12,999 and then goes up from there. The FTR Carbon is pretty impressive too. Let's jump over here, take a look at some comments really quickly. Let's see. Okay, we got Wit is with us and a variety of other things. Hey, look, I'm gonna grab up this one right here. Salty sprinkles. Not a fan of rear cylinder deactivation. Understandable. A lot of guys have issues with that. And understandably so. But if you ride in high desert circumstances, you ride in traffic or you're a commuter, and that's one of the things that this bike is going to do very well. It's going to be a great urban commuter for a lot of reasons. But traffic and warmth and heat are not good for that motor, even as a liquid cooled thing. So rear cylinder deactivation has its upside there. Let's see. Oh, she's shoveling snow. Hi, Whit Mesa. How are you? Well, I am shoveling snow as well. This morning here in Colorado Springs, 18 degrees. Last night, easily about 7 or 8 inches of snow here in the area. So, yeah, we're all getting down with that. Let's see what's we got here. I get that. Okay. Mark, I see it for a younger crowd to get more of that crowd interested. Mark, I'm going to challenge your point there. If you've been out and about on motorcycles like I have over the last, well, now 50 years, there was a series of bikes that were out that in different incarnations over the years that we referred to as sports standards. Now, the sports standard was always one of those bikes that really never had its own niche either. It just seemed to do a little bit of everything well, which is kind of where the FTR has landed since its introduction back in 19. It does a little bit of everything, but no one quite knew where it fit. Well, now we know. And that older group of riders that had experience with things like the Kawasaki ZXR 1200, the Bandit 1200S from Suzuki, the Yamaha VMAX is another good example. Go all the way back to the 1980s and take a look at the mid-1980s Honda Nighthawk S. It too was one of those sports standard motorcycles. Wasn't everything, but certainly did just about anything very, very well. So now we understand. So we got a group with us here. There's about 63 of you guys hanging out here. So I'm going to page through some of our stuff. Oh, here we go. I was hoping for a Victory Judge style bike. Well, Chris, I'll tell you, don't rule that out. That's all I'm going to say. What do we have over here? Okay, Power Plus and a stripped down cruiser would be badass. You're absolutely right there, Salty. It would be absolutely cool, but we're going to have to wait and see if that happens. Guys, questions? Do you have any specific questions about this particular bike? Because I've had this information now for a little over a week, and I've had a chance to study it and look at what they're doing here. And I think you're going to appreciate now where FTR is going and what Indian Motorcycle is doing with a bike that really defies character and it defies categorizing. It is so unique in every aspect. But I think really, as I just got done saying, this is a lot like I'm going to say traditional sports standards. Now, though, in a 21st century version. So I think that's pretty impressive. All right, what do we have here? The challenge, I think, is that the FTR is competing with the MT-09R, and that is a tall order. I would have to agree to a degree, but I don't think that really the MT-09R is the rider that they're shooting for. I know that it is something, but it's really one of those things. What am I most about excited about with the new FTR? Well, this is my daughter, Hannah Ceballos. Hi, Hannah. What I'm really most excited about is that now it's more accessible. By bringing the bike about an inch and a half lower and then really giving it this street character and putting on the right tires and the right suspension and providing an accessory package that is really unbelievable. I think that that's what I'm excited about with the new FTR is it brings it to a new audience and it brings it to riders that might not have looked at it either because it was too tall or intimidating or that they just couldn't quite figure out what to do with it. But if you look around, and I've seen this a lot. So let's see, what do we got here, Sean? Yeah, we speak of the bikes that are the top tier in the Indian lineup in another broadcast, Roadmaster Better Forums. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. We're going to do a lot of that this weekend on Indian Rider Radio After Hours Live, Friday night, 8 p.m. We're going to talk a lot about the FTR this time around, but we do have plans to talk more about some of the other heavyweight motorcycles coming up. So we're going to check into that. Why no power bump? I think the bike really benefited from some cams. Well, Derek, I think you're probably right. And I think that if you keep your ear to the aftermarket, you're going to see a lot of that happen in the next little while. There's been a lot of motor development type things going on for the FTR. And a lot of consideration as to how to use that power plant going forward. But the biggest thing is getting the tuning correct. And I think that part of the problem here is that until such time as they knew what direction they were going, they hadn't invested a lot of time yet in developing or I want to say fixing, if you will, the tuning and some of the performance issues. So there's going to be a lot of performance stuff that'll come out for that bike. Don't worry about it. Dad with a bike. I do wish, like the Scout series, that they bring a larger gas tank for the FTR and Scouts in general. Age-old argument, my friend. Age-old argument. It's always a matter of how much fuel you can take. And again, this is more or less aimed at the urban guy. Not exclusively, but because he is part of the core customer for this motorcycle, there's gas stations on every corner. That's what we're talking about. What do we got here? Like to see more of an adventure bike out of the platform. Well, I think that the FTR Rally is not going anywhere. The FTR Rally lends itself to any type of adaptation you want to make for the road or for the dirt. And I think that the Rally is a marvelous motorcycle. I think you're going to see more upgrades along its line. It's going to continue to be more accessible as well. And there may be, a second branch of the family tree that comes off of that. But in the meantime, I think you're right. There probably needs to be more of that. Here we go. Is the cylinder deactivation and other ECU bits available for an update on older FTR models? Now, Brandon, I'm not sure about that, but I wouldn't rule it out. Okay. But Brandon, I'm not entirely sure because in talking with Indian, which by the way, I'm going to do as long as we're here, I'll blow it up. Later today, I'm going to get to talk with a guy by the name of Ben Lindeman. Now, Ben is the product director, the project manager, if you will, the guy for FTR at Indian Motorcycle. And he and I are going to chat this afternoon about 1 o'clock my time. So later this afternoon, I'll drop in some pieces of that interview, and then you'll hear it in its entirety on Friday with the podcast episode release. And if you haven't tried out Indian Rider Radio, the podcast, you can find us simple. Search us on any podcast provider or check us out at IndianRiderRadio.com. Back to your questions over here. Let's see. Seat height. Here we go. Seat height and tires were two faults with the initial FTR. However, if the FTR is going to compete with naked sports, it's going to need a horsepower bump. I don't know if it's direct competitor in that regard, and you're probably right. At 120 horsepower and 87 foot-pounds of torque, the bike walks right down the middle, much like conventional, or what we would know as in the past, traditional sports standards. They were never quite tuned as hot. They were suspended more for the street. Their steering geometries and so on were set up to make them more comfortable as a road or street bike and an everyday rider. So someplace between sport bike or naked sport bike and the FTR sits what we would have called in the past the sports standard. So what's this one here? They don't want to get the game till they can match Ducati in horsepower. Ducati's horsepower is a marvelous thing, and I'm not taking anything away from the Ducati lineup. But what I will say is this, is Ducati motorcycles, unless you're very familiar with them, are quirky little things. And they have, they're expensive to maintain and they're expensive to buy and all that stuff. Doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means that it's a different motorcycle than most of us would be drawn to. So I get you there. I live in PA, but ran out coming home from Sturgis 4 miles from the next stop. I hate when that happens, running out of fuel. What do we got here, Brandon? Not to mention Triumph's 1200 RS announcement this morning. Yeah, that was a big one. And, the speed triples are marvelous motorcycles. And that motor and that power plant has been so well derived for so long that I think it's really going to be hard to say anything negative about that bike. But I do understand that there is still a large market segment out there not looking for that naked hyper sport as much as looking at a bike that does a little bit of everything they want to do well. And I can tell you that the FTR is going to be that bike coming forward. What do you got here? Dan's Bike View. Nice to catch you finally live, mate. Well, hello, Daniel. Good to see you too, my friend. What do we got here? Lower seat height definitely lend itself to more mid-size riders. Yeah, absolutely. All right. CDL, I'm in South Dakota as well. Only ran out once. What do we have here? Agree with more fuel on the Scouts, but I don't think the Indian will put any more in from now. Nah, I have to agree, guys. All right. What do you got here, Hannah? Curious about that too. Being short, not much fits. Yeah, that's true. Hannah here is 5 feet tall on a good day, standing on her tiptoes. And she's been a Scout rider now for a while, and she's really enjoys the bike because it fits her well and because it can be adapted. And Hannah, you're talking about a point that Indian has been heard echoed now through a lot of different things. And that is they want to make the bikes as accessible as possible, not just with accessorizing and fitment, but across the board. So I think you're going to see that this is a good thing. Okay, let's go back over here and look at my comments. All right, guys, any other questions? Any other things you want to know about this bike? I'm going to hit these things up one more time for you. Let me run through these just one more time and give you an opportunity to look at some of the more detailed information that I put together in these short videos about this bike. Don't go away. The FTR base. Starting at $12,999, the base FTR features an analog gauge. It's available in black smoke with red accents throughout, including red pinstripes on the wheels, red Indian Motorcycle script branding across the tank, and a red rear shock spring. The 2022 FTR-S. With 2 paint options, maroon metallic and white smoke, the FTR-S begins at just $14,999. The premium offering includes Indian Motorcycle's 4.3-inch touchscreen display, offering phone integration with Bluetooth or USB connection. The FTR-S is standard with an upgraded Akrapovic exhaust, 3 ride modes, wheelie control with rear lift mitigation, stability control, traction control, and cornering ABS. Additionally, a fast-charging USB port is a handy way to stay charged. The FTR-R Carbon sits at the top as the premier model in the FTR lineup. In addition to the features listed with the FTR-S, the FTR-R Carbon sets itself apart with carbon fiber tank covers, front fender and headlight nacelle, fully adjustable Öhlins gold front forks and gold piggyback shocks, a black Akrapovic exhaust, premium seat cover, and numbered badging on the console. The FTR-R Carbon is available and starting at $16,999. The FTR, the FTR-S, and FTR-R Carbon are outfitted with 17-inch cast aluminum wheels wrapped with Metzler Sport-Tech street tires, resulting in precision handling in corners and nimble handling on the street. Smaller wheels, along with the bike's front and rear suspension, now offering 120 millimeters of travel, contribute to a lower seat height, reduced by about 1.4 inches, opening the door for more riders to enjoy the FTR. Additionally, the Pro Taper handlebars were trimmed by nearly an inch and a half to support the bike's nimble handling and give riders more control. Additionally, updates for the new FTR line further redefine rider comfort. These three models offer fully adjustable front and rear suspension. That's a new feature added to the FTR base, as well as cylinder deactivation. So now you know, this thing is well equipped, and with the exception of the FTR base model, which is just as the name implies, it is a base model. But what they've done there is they've now added the adjustable suspension, which I think is going to make that bike a lot more popular. Again, so the FTR base gets you in the door. It's gritty. It's got that cool look about it, and it makes a marvelous platform for customization. And with the FTR right now, if you look at what's happened to this motorcycle in the public after it's left the showroom floor, if it wasn't adapted almost immediately for off-road use, you're seeing that neo retro style, that very cool style come back into customization. And so this bike has lent itself to it very well. Now, with this street personality and the base model having that adjustable suspension and some other features, I think you're really looking at a bike that's going to change things in a lot of ways. So let's go down here. Oh, yeah. What do we got here? Oh, look, Tim says, thanks. Hi, Tim. And, oh, wait, Randall asked about if the foot pegs are closer. Foot pegs in terms of no. What we do have, I think, is a slightly lower passenger rear peg. That's what I think. The rest of the frame is pretty much the same. Yeah, to answer that one. What do we got here? Tried to test ride one last year when they launched in the UK, but I stand at 5'6", sadly too tall for me. Hey, Daniel, I'm not that far away. At maybe 5'9" with my riding boots on a good day. I found the bike to be comfortable once I got on it, and once I got a little more comfortable with it, where footing went and what kind of thing, it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it's actually going to open this bike up a ton. It's really going to make a difference for what FTR is capable of in terms of rider accessibility. That's, I think, a big part of it, because a 31-inch, as Star Bobber will tell you, she is our guest on Friday with Indian Rider Radio After Hours Live. Yes, the one and only Star Bobber. She's dropping by. Her bike is one of the earlier ones, and of course, she put on the Tosh exhaust, and she tells you she struggles with her footing. So she's learned how to do it, but it was one of those things that took a little while. Somebody give them a round of applause. Greg Rankin says, I think they did a good job. I have to agree, Greg. I think they did too. And what do we have here? Salty and Sprinkles coming at me out of Texas. Will Indian answer the 131 availability of the Harley upgrades? I would like to think yes. I don't know that hard, fast, and in concrete just yet. But you have to understand that when they develop these motorcycles, as we learned last week when we talked with Indian Motorcycle a little bit about what was going on with the Challenger cam kits, there's so much that they put into these bikes long before it's ever introduced. They're part of the design of the bike, the intention for the model, whatever it may be. And I really think that's the case as well. So to answer your question as short and sweet as I can there, Salty, yeah, I think there's going to be something out there very soon. And in the aftermarket already has addressed that. I mean, Loy's Garage puts out a 126 cubic inch engine, slap a turbo on there, watch the 131 cry. Okay, I'm just saying it out loud. Is there a way to turn the cylinder deactivation on and off? Generally speaking, with these bikes, that is an option. I don't know specifically yet with the FTR, but I would assume that is the case. Anything that's got that 4.3-inch touchscreen on it, and that's in the FTR-S model and through the FTR-R carbon, that has a myriad of options and things you could do with it. So I suspect it's in there as well. What? Rumor has it Lloyd's 131. Is that true? Oh, look at this. Tim Sutherland, Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. Somebody just handed him a big spoon. He's stirring it up already. He's been R&D. Oh, look out. Here we go. Now the combo is started. All right. Hey, Bobber is up. Adventures of the Bearded Bobber. If you haven't checked him out, check him out on YouTube. Lloyd's is the one with the answer to those numbers. Yeah. And we've talked about that in the past, and we will talk about that more going forward. So, any other questions, any other comments, any other things we could do? What's your first impression? Did they do it right? Did they get it right? So what do we have here? I think the rear cylinder cutoff may be put on as standard in the new 21 lineup, including the Scouts. Maybe. Yeah. I think that could happen. What do we have here? The 131 already couldn't handle it with the 108 at the track. Yeah, that's true. And I see so many wonderful things going forward for the Power Plus engine and that platform. I think that's going to just be amazing. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Here we go from Marktalarico and Hogtag Collar. If you haven't checked out his phone mounts and his camera mounts, you need to do that. From what remarks I have read on a rolling start side by side, the Challenger keeps up with the 131 pretty good. It does. But where the 131 does very, very well is through the mid-range. Okay. Again, Harley Davidson bikes aren't necessarily the high revving motorcycles that we see now, but I do tell you that it's going to be good. What do we got here? We track racing on the streets, stoplight to stoplight. Yeah, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, stoplight to stoplight, we can still burn a lot of people. Let's look over here. Excited for the differences. Also love the white on the FTR-S. Yeah. Early kind of inquiries about this bike, Hannah, were what colors should they make, obviously. And the white smoke with the black accents really tested very, very well. It's a good looking motorcycle. And again, it really screams urban street. Just absolutely amazing. And what do we have here? Oh, mile. Okay. Because quarter mule at a time. That would look weird. Yeah, that just wouldn't do. All right. So we all get the general idea here. FTR 2022. Now, here's another upside, I think. If you guys, if you are one of those people who has been considering the FTR motorcycle for whatever reason, whatever you want to do with it, there's now going to be bikes sitting in dealerships because these will be shipped out soon. These will be ready to head to the stores very, very soon. And by spring, they're going to be in showrooms, and you're going to see these bikes firsthand. That means that dealers that are sitting on other inventory in the FTR lineup will be anxious to see those go away. So keep it on there. Oh, what do we got here? Ridingfish. Hey, by the way, dude, I hijacked your page. I took over your YouTube channel. I just did it. Is the touchscreen available for the base? You and I would suspect, again, like anything else, you could add that on if you choose to, but it is not a standard feature. No, it's an analog gauge and the base headlamp. The only real major changes to the FTR base were color, trim, and the adjustability of the suspension system now. Okay? Get that one answered for you. Oh, we have new comments here. Fish in the house. That's right. Fish drops by. Look at this. See, nobody says hi to me. Holy crap. Fish. Yeah. This is what happens when you make friends with a guy like this who's so popular. He's the cool kid. I just drag along behind. Okay, guys, I want to get this wrapped up in the next 5 minutes or so. Stop at the top of the hour and get moving along. I really appreciate so many of you dropping in this morning and joining us for this live update. Thank you very much for the Lloyd's Garage and Indian Motorcycle Charlotte for helping us out and getting us rolling here this morning. As always, like they do, they take good care of us. If you don't have any other fresh questions or anything like that, oh, here we go. We have a fresh question dropped in here. Verification curiosity. Is the 107 Challenger engine based off the Freedom 106? Okay, Daniel, let's answer this question. The answer is both yes and no. The Power Plus 108 was a Victory concept motor that was in development. Shelved, obviously, for a little while when Indian Motorcycle acquired, when Polaris acquired Indian Motorcycle. But keep in mind that we're seeing a lot of Victory DNA in the Indian motorcycles. And the reason we're doing that is it's marvelous stuff. You know, where Victory may have been challenged in the marketplace, it certainly wasn't in terms of engineering and what the bike could bring to the table. I mean, they just brought marvelous, incredible motorcycles to the marketplace that guys just weren't drawn to for whatever reason. So a lot of that technology, a lot of that innovation, a lot of the design work that they had been doing in Victory is now finding its way to the Indian lineup. And don't be afraid of that, because innovation was a big part of what Polaris and Victory were all about. And yeah, I think that the 106, not necessarily, but a new incarnation coming along in the liquid cooled side in the 108. Yep. Here's a good morning. Terry from Rockford, Illinois. Hi. 2:35 in the afternoon in the UK. Well, that means that you're headed to break. I'm just headed to breakfast. So how we doing? Hope the next announcement will hit the motorcycle world like a hammer. Okay. All right. We'll do that. And that's 2/9. February 9th, there will be another major announcement from Indian Motorcycle, as you saw, and all that cool stuff. Wait, this is it? Nothing else? Oh, what? Salty, what were you expecting? I don't know what to tell you, my friend. And thanks for answering my question, Daniel. Appreciate you. All right. Now, let's run down a few more things here for you. As I mentioned earlier, with the FTR 2022 release, I've had the luxury of having some of this information in front of me for a little while, and I'm finally going to get to talk about it with Ben Lindeman. Ben is the project director, the guy when it comes to FTR at Indian Motorcycle. And they've taken a long, hard look at this bike. You can imagine that they have really studied where this bike goes and what this platform can do. And Ben is going to peel the layers back, and he's going to show us all about it. I'm going to have a feature from that interview today, and then it will air in its entirety on Friday with Indian Rider Radio, the regular podcast. Find that on Spotify, Google, anywhere you can find a podcast. IndianRiderRadio.com is a great place to find it. And all of the episodes there on the episode page, and then look at the website while you're there. Check out things like the real-time test ride that we did with Indian Motorcycle, and also check out things like the Full Ride Scholarship Program, sponsored by Brave Wolf Customs. And if you need a new seat, or if you want yours improved, Alligator Bob is there as well. Then this Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, the one, the only model mom and motorcycle mama, Star Bobber. She's going to drop in and join Ridingfish and I for Indian Rider Radio After Hours Live this Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, Star is more than a pretty face. She knows how to ride her bike. She knows about FTR. She's done a lot of research, and the girl can ride and handles her stuff. So I'm excited to have her on the show on Friday night with Ridingfish here. If you're a Ridingfish YouTube follower and you jumped on and found me, sorry, bro. But I hope you dropped in and you checked it out there on Ridingfish's YouTube channel. Be a subscriber. Hit the notifications button as well, too, because we got stuff going on. Oh, wait a minute. What do we got here? Preach it up, Curtis. You were correct on the DNA. Will a chieftain accept a trailer hitch? Yeah, it will. I know a lot of you guys trailer. I just have never understood it. Okay. But yeah, it will accept one. Okay. Mark, I haven't seen anyone making a mount for the hitches. Well, that would be the challenge. Yeah, you have to look around for that. Okay. Indian Motorcycle World, check those guys out too. Guys like Christopher David Lawson of Northeast Pennsylvania, Bearded Bobber, Bombshell Biker, and a variety more. Dazzle Rebel Rides, and my old friend Ridingfish. He's part of Indian Motorcycle World as well. What's the new announcement from Indian? Samar, did you just get here? Did he miss part of this show? We've been on here for a while. Did he miss it? Seeing the Roadmaster with a trailer there. See, okay, you guys are having your own conversations. You don't need me. What's going on here? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for spending a little time with us this morning right here. I'm Curtis Sawyer in the Tam Performance Studios with Indian Rider Radio. And, of course, we are powered by Lloyd's Garage and Indian Motorcycle Charlotte. Thanks to all of our sponsors, folks like Thurber Jewelers. Check them out at thurberjewelers.com. Tab Performance. Check them out. Rush Racing Products, 6D helmets, and a variety more. Now, more detailed information coming as I talk with Ben Lindeman today. We'll drop in some snippets of that interview a little later on this afternoon on Facebook. And then, of course, Friday, our brand new episode with all FTR 22. And, very special guest joining us on Friday as well. Nearly forgot, and this would get me in trouble. Clockworks. Brian Clock is going to be on the show Friday, and we have an awesome conversation. He and I talked for close to an hour, and I whittled it down to about 35, 36 minutes of conversation that he and I had. And if you're not familiar with Clockworks and Brian's work and his history with Indian Motorcycle, by all means, join us Friday. Indian Rider Radio, the podcast. You'll find it everywhere and anywhere you find your favorite podcast. And then we're back right here Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. FTR, we're all in. Star Bobber is here with me and Ridingfish and you. So, guys, I'm going to let you go for now. I really appreciate you dropping by and staying with us. If you have questions about the new 2022 FTR lineup, drop by, say hi. We'll have more information on our Facebook page and some coming to Instagram a little later on. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to check back in with you later this afternoon. I am Curtis Sawyer with Indian Rider Radio, live from the Tab Performance Studios, as we reveal the FTR 2022 from Indian Motorcycle.